Stugotz here. Did you know that every single episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is now on Spotify? Yes, the same app that has millions of songs now also has thousands of podcasts. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite shows and discover new ones. Just not too many. We get jealous very easily. To subscribe to our show, search for the Dan Le Batard Show, tap follow, and get every new episode delivered to you. Podcast on Spotify. They are streaming right now. And 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 now. Listen up, people. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take up too much of your time. You know, our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to ESPNpodcaststudy.com and fill out a short, anonymous survey. That's it. We swear, again, that's ESPNpodcaststudy.com.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Is Yoo-Hoo chocolate water? Happy 62nd birthday. 62nd. This will make you feel old, to Joe Montana.
Oh,
happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
We begin with the wild ride of Alex Ovechkin, as my father calls him.
Good save. Was about to find you.
Why can't we all have as much fun with sports as Alex Ovechkin, who was crushed at every turn for being great but being mentally frail, or whatever we do to this loser, choker, and now he's not. Now he gave his face to the cause. He gave his teeth to the cause. He's what?
Well, I beat an expansion team. I mean, his first season. Bunch of players that no other teams wanted. I don't know.
You don't know what?
I question whether or not he's a champion. I do. I'm thinking about it.
No, you're not sure. So he should stop celebrating because he is not yet in a champion in your personal record book.
TBD.
All right. Well, let's hear how it is he's been celebrating. This is just, I haven't seen him with a shirt on. I haven't seen him not clearly euphoriously drunk. He is what give me the times, Mike. There have been a handful of athletes. J.R. Smith felt this way after they won the title. I feel like Edelman did this, where every day on Instagram there was a photo of him waking up in another woman's bed. He's just chugging beers. Paul Pierce told us he spent an entire summer in Vegas just getting massages.
J.R. Smith?
Yeah, I mentioned that already. Oh. That was the $2. Get out of here.
What?
Get out of here.
No way.
Go to the penalty box. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Wait, $2 and 2 minutes?
Both, yes. And get out of here.
See if I have some money. Nope.
Did he, guys? I didn't see his hand.
No one did.
All right. Get out of here.
That's 2 minutes in the box.
You not listening is a marvel. Get out of here.
I had a long night.
Here come the excuses. That's another $2.
What?
Stugotz.
I mean, I'm playing in pain. My hand is practically broken,
Get
man.
out of here. Get out of here.
All right.
So
that's $4?
It's like $5. And go.
What?
Go sit in the box. Mike, go get some of the best sound of him not listening, because he's already complaining. Mike, he's already warning us that he can't do anything right today, that he doesn't feel well, that he's tired. He was making excuses by text. I got a driver in. I need segments off. He's like, it's so hard what he does, being bad. So he's very tired, and he's already saying that he's going to be a disaster today. He hasn't done any of his work that's necessary for today. He was sitting there last segment doing his weekend observations, and now we're going to get maximum not listening Stugotz. Here's an old classic.
Steve Martin was a prop comic.
He was?
Yeah. He came out with an arrow through his head, and people found that funny.
Steve Martin also.
That's what you just said.
Oh, he said that.
In that sound, I've never noticed before. He's just like, like,
Yeah,
does the totally, like,
no, that's
like
what.
Totally
that's right. On the front end of that, he's faking it as if, Mike, he's making the sound that accompanies "I've absorbed this."
Steve Martin was a prop comic.
He was?
Yeah, he came out with an arrow through his head. Mm-hmm. And people found that funny.
Steve Martin, also.
How many of those do you have, Mike? Because I'm perfectly fine playing nothing but Stugotz not listening clips because our library is long. A lot of real estate.
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
Sorry, this is why I I don't know what that means. It says Stugotz not listening Johnny Depp. And this was the sound of...
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog. By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
What a great sentence with no context. You could do a whole you could do a Mad Libs routine about right from there. You pull something out of a box, and this is what it reads on the box.
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
So let's have that be Exhibit A for why I should probably take a couple minutes to get some of these together.
All right, we'll do it next segment. Guillermo, where you going? No, don't get Stugotz yet. I got questions for you. Because Guillermo went out to the Marlins game this weekend.
Twice.
Did you pay?
Yes, I did. $4 tickets, though. 25th anniversary. I'm telling you right now, I've been a little harsh on them, some people could say. It was a fun weekend, man. It was nice going back there, seeing the teal, seeing some of the old players.
Yo, chicken time.
Yeah, you said all offseason that you weren't going to spend $1 there, and then you went there this weekend, you were a big fraud! You're a liar!
It was $4. I mean,
don't argue with the chickens. Undefeated, never lost.
It all meant nothing. Your words are meaningless. Fraud!
I got a lot of that. Got a lot of traitor, a lot of fraud.
While you were walking around the ballpark?
No, there I got people requesting to take pictures with me. But like in the comments, I put up a picture. And let me tell you why I put up a picture, because you guys are going to make fun of this too. So they have like this 25th anniversary like fan like mosaic. And the only way you could get on it is if you like put it with the special hashtag and then you go and they like print it out. So I put it up so I could be part of this fan mosaic for the 25th anniversary. It was fun, man. Here's the thing. I love the Marlins. I can be mad at them, but I ultimately love them. So people don't like it when I, go to games and stuff because it's the opposite of what I've been saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But am I never going to go to a game again?
Oh,
I mean, that's unreasonable.
It certainly sounded like it when you were making some of your crusades. It sounded like you might not pay another $1. You said you would not pay another $1, but tell the people the truth. And this is the saddest part of this whole story. Guillermo didn't stay for the games. He paid the $4, and all he was watching is alumni Marlins softball.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. I went to the game nice and early, an hour and a half before the game. I watched the alumni softball game, and then I left before the real game started.
Was Charlie Huff there?
Oh, man. Charlie Huff was there, and he hit a rope. And this Alex Gonzalez, MVP of the softball game, in case you guys were wondering, Alex Gonzalez was just clowning people defensively. He made this backhanded stop, a leap, a throw to first to get someone out. He was catching pop-ups with his back to the field just for fun.
Who played in the alumni game? How many people? Charlie Huff is still hitting ropes?
Yeah.
Charlie Huff
He robbed them. He shouldn't have robbed them just because it was mean.
Charlie Huff was 60 years old 60 years ago. How is Charlie Huff not breaking into peanut brittle as soon as he swings a bat?
Softball, man. Everyone can get a hit.
Was he pitching? Huh? Knuckleball?
He actually, he did pitch a little bit. For some reason, they had, who did they have pitching? They had Orestes Estrada pitching. What a disaster he was, giving up bombs left and right. They had to pull him. I've never seen a manager go out and take a pitcher out in the middle of a celebrity softball game. They took him out of the game. They put him in left field. Antonio Fonseca came in to pitch.
Who were the best Marlins players there in terms of resume?
In terms of resume?
The names you're saying right now, the national audience is listening to this and saying, what kind of crappy alumni game?
No, it was great.
No,
was so
I understand. No, I understand why you like it. What I'm asking you is, first of all, put on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you stunned that Charlie Huff is still kicking around the softball circuit?
Well, he's not kicking.
$2, get out of here.
That's 2 minutes in the box.
Yeah, can you send Stugotz back in? He's got to read. He's got a sports center.
This is going to bear monitoring. Billy's enjoying having some celebrity at these Marlins games where he goes and he gets the light to himself. This bears noting.
There have been signs at Marlins games of Billy Gill.
He's enjoying how he's becoming a Marlins celebrity. But I'd like to know what happened to your hand, Stugotz.
Broke it practically.
Doing what?
Punching whiteboards.
You think the whole LeBron thing was fake? That he
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Dan Le Batard.
I would like to help out the board op on Golick and Wingo. Cliff, I am your voice. I was you once. I am you. Golick and Wingo laughed at Cliff the board op. And Cliff, I'm telling you, they all laughed at me at one point. They're still laughing.
Can we talk to Cliff right now? I want to ask him who in sports looks like they might have dandruff. Can we talk to Cliff right now since you've decided to use this first segment to send shout-outs to Cliff the board op?
Stugotz.
Guys, it appears that we have Cliff the board.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Cliff the board op. The question is posed to you. Mike, get our top-of-the-line entertainment production ready. Who in sports most looks like they probably have dandruff?
Is that to me?
Thank you, Cliff. Your big shining moment. You are indeed the Stugotz of the board op world. Hey, goodbye, everybody.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you want to hear a Stephen A. Smith impression? Every day they give me a sound sheet of things. And I asked Guillermo, how do you feel about the Stephen A. Smith impression? And Guillermo, confidence reeling, neurotic as always, answers meh. So it's highlighted. It's at the top of our sound sheet. It's the very first thing. And I asked him how he feels about it, and he's like, meh. So with all of that as context, do you want to hear the Stephen A. Smith impression at Le Batard Show? We don't have much to talk about. This is a dead period. This is also where our show thrives because we are not beholden to much of anything. We are not going to break down the Jeff Bannister, A.J. Hinch controversy involving a balk. But, Mike, if real quick you want to get that sound that's 14 spaces below the Stephen A. Smith impression that Billy gave a meh, you can get to that Jeff Bannister sound upset at a balk call.
My concerns that nobody on the field originally called a balk. There was nothing, no umpire called a balk, and their manager came out and I guess was arguing for a balk. They got together and the explanation was to me that Key didn't tell anybody he was going out of the windup. Unfortunate. I've never seen a non-balk call turned over and called a balk. Didn't know that we could come out and get the umpires convened to try to see what everybody came up with. It upsetting in a sense that, it's you can't argue against a balk. So that was my concern.
So Jeff Bannister clearly enraged, and A.J. Hinch wasn't having that. We like to be fair and balanced because when you say things as inflammatory as what Jeff Bannister just said, you have to present the other side in the name of fairness. So here's A.J. Hinch enraged about what Jeff Bannister said.
It's clear as day what happened. It just is a weird play, and I think it caught everybody off guard, including the umpiring crew. I mean, it's an illegal pitch with a runner on third, and Keelan does that all the time with nobody on. So I think he was so focused on the hitter, he decided to do a quick pitch, which you can't do. It's a balk. So once they convene, I could overhear a little bit of the conversation, and ultimately they got the call right.
ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports and sports sound. ESPN needs sound to thrive. That's the best of what we're going to get for about 2 months. ESPN sends that out to all of its tentacles. Here you guys go. Here's some Jeff Bannister and some A.J. Hinch. Have at it. Make chicken salad out of Jeff Bannister and A.J. Hinch.
Should we get Hinch on or?
Break down the balk of it. Break down an illegal pitch for 3 segments. Was it a balk? Was it a balk? Who's right? Bannister or Hinch? Who you with? Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Who you rolling with? Bannister or Hinch? Mike, let's get back to Stugotz not listening. We are headed into a couple of months here. The summer months really get Stugotz. They rot his brain. As the years have deteriorated, so is he.
Yeah.
And so here is another example of Stugotz being paid professionally to work and not listen. The only good movie ever that involved a plot twist that involved someone peeling their own face off was Hannibal Lecter's Silence of the Lambs. That's it. There's never been another movie that involves the peeling off of a face that's been any good.
Come on, Face Off.
Face Off, not Mission
awesome.
Impossible.
No. Silence of the Lambs. There was a peeling.
That's the only.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Ow.
I'm glad you guys are laughing.
We got more.
Oh.
How long has Abe Vigoda been old? He was old in The Godfather, and that came out in 1972. But, James Caan and Marlon Brando were about the same age in The Godfather.
Abe Vigoda in The Godfather. Oh, man.
There he is.
A little dagger.
There he is. It's
man.
not.
I spent years trying to forget these things.
He needs to get into the conversation so badly. Offer something, even if it's already been offered, that he cannot be trusted to listen to anything that came before his turn to speak.
I found myself getting nervous for Trevor Noah, and he's actually done a lot of late night television over in South Africa, but I loved him so much. His first bit on The Daily Show killed. You could tell right away this is going to be one of those next star correspondents.
Mike, had you heard of this guy before today?
Like I said, he was a star correspondent.
Where were
Man. I'm sorry.
Mike, I don't know how many of these you have, but this is how I'd like
there's more?
This is how I'd like to do it. I'll just read something that Alex Ovechkin did over the weekend, and then you play any one of the Stugotz Not Listenings from your assortment, even ones you've already played. He swam and did snow angels half naked in a fountain. I've been saying I think Cleveland's going to beat Atlanta, and the reason that I think it is because all of basketball history shows that outside of the one outlier, the Detroit Pistons of Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace, you need to have a star at the end of playoff games if you want to advance in playoff games, with very few exceptions. In my lifetime, one exception.
Which?
The Pistons I just mentioned.
Oh.
Wow. After the Nationals game, Alex Ovechkin was doing keg stands out of the Stanley Cup in the middle of Georgetown.
I do a limited fake Rick.
Carl. That's limited fake Rick calling his son. Yes.
Very limited.
Yeah.
It's Rick Grimes.
Carl.
And Carl's his brother, right? Or his son?
I like how
Carl's
Mike Ryan.
Okay.
I just said that, Stugotz.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Stugotz.
Yes!
Celebrating.
At a random moment in the third inning of the Nationals game where he drank beers and danced while chowing down on hot dogs, Alex Ovechkin decided to hoist the Stanley Cup into the air, expecting the crowd to roar, but he wasn't shown on the Jumbotron because the ball was in play while his drunk butt was doing that.
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog. You left out the snow angel story.
I said that already!
Don Le Batard.
It's a beautiful sport. Basketball is just hugely graceful.
Stugotz.
In the Western Conference.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
It isn't bad enough that baseball's got too many games that are 17 people striking out or 25 people striking out because of power arms like Ohtani. But then the idea that you get a legitimate star and he already flames out and needs his entire arm reconstructed suggests that that's not an activity the human arm was built to replicate season after season. We mentioned the Stephen A. Smith impression. This is courtesy The Shiggy Show on Instagram. Go ahead and let's see how this is. And Guillermo, just put it on the poll. Is this a good impression of Stephen A., yes or no?
First of all, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors for winning another championship back-to-back. But let's talk about your so-called king. Your so-called greatest player in the world who couldn't win one game? He couldn't win one game? Your king. This is a player we gonna say is the greatest player in the world. But you telling me he couldn't win one game? We're not talking about the series here. We're talking about one game. Your king couldn't get you one game. Let's talk about game one.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of this. Get this out of my life. That's the top of the show sheet. We had better sound from many years ago. We cannot remember the context of this story. Faithful listener, loyal listener, somebody tell us what the rest of this story is.
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
What is the rest of that, please? Yeah. We don't know. We can't. Mike fired that off by mistake a segment ago.
I will tell you that it's labeled Stugotz Not Listening Johnny Depp.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. Want the hinge sound again? Or by the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
Brian Windhorst with us on ESPN Radio.
I remember he was filming a movie in Australia, one of the Pirates movies, and you need to have certain permits to bring dogs in and out of the country, and he didn't have it. He just put it on his private jet, and I think they weren't going to let him leave with it. Or he bought it there or something. He was trying to bring it back, and he just took it out.
Oh, it's coming together. At some point, Dan was reading that story. He mentioned something about the dogs, and then Stugotz chimed in with this.
By the way, they have apologized for smuggling that dog.
Thus proving he wasn't listening.
Yeah, all right.
Good job.
Brian Windhorst with us on ESPN Radio. And answer this question for me, Brian, and thank you for joining us. I'm dead serious about this because the idea that Miami could get either Kawhi or Kawhi or LeBron seems like a pipe dream, but I'm dead serious. If somehow, by some magical thing, Kawhi and LeBron do end up together somewhere, is that enough?
Yeah, great question. In the Eastern Conference, it may be enough. I don't know about the West. That's really the Heat's great advantage, is that at some point somebody will want to play in Miami and say, trade me there. And they do have some pieces and parts to put together a deal, especially if it's a leveraged deal. What I mean by that is send me to Miami or else, like Chris Paul did with Houston. They could put a deal together. But I don't know if they could put a deal together for both of them. They may have to wait till 2019 to do it. But they're on the board because of that, because they're Miami, because it's a place where players want to live, and they have a history of being able to build championship teams.
I was telling people, Brian, before we in the local hour, that those relationships have been mended between Riley and Maverick Carter and LeBron's people. And so I ask you, what the lifestyle stuff, the fact that LeBron's family didn't want to leave Miami, all that stuff, how much is it going to play into the next decision?
I think that's exactly what he's trying to figure out right now, Dan. I think LeBron is going to probably he's going to have to make a compromise on this free agency. And what does he compromise? Does he compromise being on a team that can get to the finals? Is he willing to take a step back a little bit because his family or he want to be happy? Is he willing to compromise location? In other words, Cleveland is an important location to him. Miami, Los Angeles, these are places he likes. But would he go to another place maybe that he wouldn't be comfortable? Philadelphia, for example. Is he willing to compromise on that? I mean, is he willing to compromise on his family's happiness? His family doesn't have any connection to Houston or San Antonio. Would he want to take his son, who's about to go to high school, into Houston or San Antonio and completely change their life? But be on a team that potentially could beat the Warriors next year? He's going to have to pick a compromise the way I see it. And I think what he's going to spend this next month doing is figuring out which compromise he wants to make. But if on June 29th, if he opts into his contract and says to the Cavs, I want to be traded to the Miami Heat, the Cavs would probably acquiesce and send him to the Miami Heat. There is a deal to be made there. The question is, if that happened, where would the Heat be? Would they be able to compete to win the East next year? And could there be another scenario? Could Paul George or Kawhi Leonard force their way to Miami? Those are things that I don't know. But if I was Pat Riley and Andy Ellisberg, I would have my computer and my whiteboard out trying to figure it out in case that it takes place.
Brian, what do you think is the most important factor?
I think he wants to win. I think at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, he's not going to be satisfied going to a team where he's going to say, well, I'll try to get us to the second round. And if he were to go to LA with Paul George, I think they would have an all-out fight to get out of the second round. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lonzo Ball would develop. Maybe Brandon Ingram would turn into an all-star, and maybe they would threaten the Rockets. Maybe there's an injury somewhere. But that's, and I'm not saying that's why he wouldn't go to LA, but that's the thing. I mean, and I think if he stayed in Cleveland and they got the number 8 pick, he would be in an all-out fight to try to get back with the Cavs. They would be against the Celtics and Sixers, and it would be a fight. So I think ultimately he's going to try to my bet, if I were wagering, would be that he would choose the best possible team under the circumstances.
And it's impossible to answer from there this question, Brian. Which team would you want to be right now as it relates to LeBron? Like, which is the team that should be the betting favorite?
I don't have an answer. The best thing to happen, Dan, would be if he could get on the phone with Kevin Durant and talk him into playing with him in Los Angeles. That would be the way to wound your number one competition, join two of the best 3 or 4 players in the league, create a new super team, and change everything. But Durant has already said he intends to resign with the Warriors.
That's pretty good, though, Brian. Brian, that's a pretty good one.
Really good.
Brian, that's a good one.
A little upset I didn't think of it.
That's the move that he could do. But Durant has what LeBron wants. Why would Durant do business? But I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for if you're looking for something where you wouldn't have a compromise, that's where you wouldn't do it.
But if we're playing that Game of Thrones, if we're playing that King of Thrones, as I called it last week, like it's Durant's league right now, and you are not going to beat him as another team. The chess piece is LeBron. It's LeBron going over the top of Durant, and what you just suggested there is better than any idea I've heard in terms of evening out on what's best for the league.
Yeah, I just don't think it's feasible because what's your pitch to Durant? I think my guess is that Kevin Durant will sign for another 1-year contract. It has nothing to do with the Warriors. He can just maximize his situation if he signs for another 1-year deal. And my guess is everybody and their brother tries to get their hands on him in 2019. And I think that's the window where the Warriors, and I still think the Warriors have the best chance to keep him. But that's the window where I think the Warriors can be broken up. But boy, if I was LeBron, put it this way. In 2014, on July 1st, all 30 teams called LeBron's agent. The Utah Jazz, the Sacramento Kings, the Minnesota Timberwolves all called because they just had to find out, would he consider? I think LeBron, after Durant, sobers up from what I would assume is a nice party, LeBron has to call Durant and at least say, hey, would you just maybe consider, how do you feel about Los Angeles? Even if Durant says, hey, man, I really appreciate it, I'll see you next season, and hangs up, I got to make the call if I'm LeBron.
Would LeBron ever go to Golden State, Brian, do you think?
So Stu, I was on this program in 2010. And I said there's no way that the Heat can get all 3 players because of A, B, C, and D. And I thought I had good reasons. And then the Heat pulled off a ridiculous trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves that I still think is one of the craziest deals of all time for Michael Beasley. But they made it happen. So I'm not going to sit here 8 years later after seeing craziness in this league happen and tell you that something's not going to happen. I'm not ruling it out. And the Warriors should be one of the teams that, just like I think LeBron has to call Durant, I think the Warriors have to call LeBron if he becomes a free agent. Do I think it's likely to happen? No, I don't. But, hell, it's on the board.
I love that Windhorse isn't ruling anything out. It's time, baby. June and July, we're going to – Windhorse isn't ruling everything out. Soon LeBron takes over again.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing. Keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Dan Le Batard.
What I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. You send 4 or 5 or 6 88-year-olds my way, and each one of those fights is going to look like Don Zimmer and Pedro Martinez. Each one of them. Send them one after another. It'd be like a kung fu movie.
Stugotz.
Send them one after another, and I'm telling you, I'm dusting a dozen 88-year-olds, one after the other. They're like zombies. They can come all at once, one after another, with my hands.
What if Hayden Fry is one of them?
All of them. 88 years old, unless Jeff Conine's father is there.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Ethan Strauss has been covering the Warriors better than anybody the last couple of years. He's doing so now at The Athletic. Thank you for joining us as always, Ethan. We were talking before you came on. Windhorst mentioned something that I had not heard, which is the idea of LeBron having to make a phone call to Durant to see if he wants to play somewhere else, thereby weakening his other opponent as opposed to just strengthening himself. Can you please tell us what LeBron's move is? Because the only counter to Durant is whatever LeBron's move is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I loved how Brian put it because I was listening to it that he is going to have to make a sacrifice. I don't think it's similar to the Miami Heat situation that you guys all lived through where there was just one amazing basketball move to be made. Anything presents complications. If you went to the Sixers, for instance, you could build a formidable team. There's a way that could get Kawhi additionally, but they would have a lack of shooting, and he's kind of Ben Simmons' agent. So even though the move would be to trade Ben Simmons probably for shooting, that would be quite awkward. So I know the expectation, or not the expectation, but just the rumblings, if you will. I'm trying not to get aggregated here because I don't want to be wedded to anything. But the lead...
Quit being a coward!
Reckless speculation! Lakers. That's the odds, went precipitously. They dropped. I'm trying to remember if they went from 25-1 to 12-1. Some crazy drop basically happened overnight towards the Lakers, and who knows if anybody knows anything, but that was quite interesting. Quite interesting to see that.
Ethan, why is Kevin Durant? It's weird, man, because it seems like he's still searching for that validation. Why is that so? He's won the last 2 championships. He's won the Finals MVP.
Well, Stu, are people like you giving him that validation? That's the question I would pose to you.
I understand that, but why is he listening to people like me?
It's a great question. It's just in him to listen. And I guess if he wins enough, we'll present it like Michael Jordan cheating at cards. It's just his competitive nature, and it's not a weakness. But he's on Twitter, and he's responding to eggs, and he hears everything. And I wonder if he thought this would accomplish something for him that has not accomplished, which is to be considered the best player. And look, from his perspective, I think last time I was on, you said, does he really think he's better than LeBron? Now, I don't think I would say he's better than LeBron, but from his perspective, in the 2017 finals, he absolutely torched LeBron. LeBron could not guard him. It was a flip dynamic from back in the 2012 finals where LeBron could guard him, but he couldn't guard LeBron. And then in this time, in this particular finals, he was guarding LeBron, and he was also amazing and had that incredible Game 3. So I think from his perspective, he's deserving, and it's just not happening for him. He's not getting that recognition. He's not supplanting LeBron as the number one spot. And also the local fan base here, they do prefer Steph Curry. So I just think that even though he's won twice, and it seems like enough has happened good that he is committed to at least another season, it just hasn't done for him perhaps what he thought it would do.
I'll take it another step on that, Stugotz, because if you keep carrying this out to its most extreme extension, Kevin Durant can win 8 straight titles and will not be Jordan. Like, we won't do it.
Correct.
We will not. It could be 8 straight. And Ethan, we wouldn't say, oh yeah, that guy's better than Jordan. And I don't think we'd say he's better than LeBron either.
I think at 8 that he would have outlasted us. I think at 8 we would have to reassess some things. I mean, that's just never been done before. You think at 8? I think that's a little prisoner of the moment-ish. In fact, I think even him, he might be doing a little bit of a prisoner.
But Ethan, because it's been too easy, Ethan. It can't look like that. Has a finals champion ever won back-to-back sweeps? Has that ever happened before?
Yeah, but how much of that is a function of the East being garbage? You know, is that really a function of the Warriors having so much talent, or is that a function of what's going on in the East? Because the league didn't look so ruined. The league didn't look so dominated during halftime of Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, for instance.
Explain this to us. Ethan Strauss, The Athletic. That's tough for me to say for some reason.
Ethan Strauss?
No, all of it. Ethan Strauss from The Athletic with us on ESPN Radio. What David West insinuating that there were problems behind the scenes that we don't know about with the Warriors. What's he talking about there?
This is just inviting more reckless speculation. Look, I have a few
Hold on a second. Hold on here so that you can be unshackled from your journalistic handcuff.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good. It's a disclaimer. Go ahead. Say whatever you want.
Say whatever you want.
Look. He presented a variety of options. It might have something to do with the things that we were discussing earlier. And beyond that, I'm not going to be that reckless with my speculation, which I know will cause you guys to kill me as part of the peer pressure of trying to squeeze me to give up information to make the radio show
Ethan,
better.
David West, you cover this team better than anyone. David West has intimated things. You've told us before about the frictions with Draymond Green in that locker room. You're embedded in there. Give us something.
Yes, but I did it in an article. But I did it in an article form, and then I come on to talk about it. I just don't shoot from the hip on radio. That seems a little bit. I don't know, reckless, I would say, and speculative.
Okay, let's try it again. Let's see if this can work again. Let's try it again. Maybe he didn't understand when he says it seems a little reckless. Perhaps you didn't understand my father's accent.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
I don't think this is a magical spell the Wizards have.
All right, get him out of here. Fade him out and get him out of here. I'm done with him. 2 minutes. Throw him in the penalty box. Get out of here. Maybe he'll come back and help us in the next segment. Get out of here. 2 minutes in the penalty box.
On drugs.
Just get what?
That's 2 minutes in the box.
What happened?
What you see? What?
He gets it now. I think he screamed, "They're all on drugs."
Oh,
wow!
Right.
Wow!
We let him back.
Wow!
They're all on drugs.
Strauss bomb.
Good God!
Little too reckless, to be honest.
Yes. Calm down, man. What do you think my father's voice doing that buys you? Nothing. Is he still there? I don't want to hear him giggling. Get him out of here.
Cha-ching! Time for some ads.
Honest to God, Stugotz.
It's a credible journalist, Dan. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
David West is saying something that things were going on in the locker room. You can talk around that.
You absolutely can, and he should. I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling like maybe we shouldn't have Ethan on the show anymore. I don't know. Last 2 appearances.
A lifetime ban?
Maybe. What do you think? Have we ever given a lifetime ban to anyone?
Lenny Dykstra.
Oh.
Dan Le Batard.
Why do we still do this, honestly?
Why do we still work with him? Why do we put ourselves in this position?
Through.
Why do we work with this person?
Old.
We should stop working with him.
Yeah.
We have offers.
We need to find something.
You have offers. I don't have offers.
Stugotz.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Hey, man, what's up?
Back.
Hey, how you doing?
We were just talking about how much of a delight you are.
So we pivoted. I think we're in a good place. This
it's going to be so good this year. Get ready.
Great to see you guys so confident.
Yeah. Flying high.
Yep. This is going to be an utter disaster.
He's still here.
I've been working with him for 12 years, and I still go home upset with myself that I allow this to happen.
I am clinically depressed because of this guy.
By the way, support at my house on Wednesday night.
Really?
Yeah.
I need it after this.
I'll see you there.
I hate him.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
This is a brutal time of year for sports radio content after basketball has ended quickly and hockey has ended quickly, and it's going to be a tough couple of months here. It is our favorite time of the year because we get to wander around and don't have to pay attention to much of anything. So I don't have to go down the path here of, according to Adam Kirchin on Twitter, he's a freelance writer, he's formerly of the Boston Herald, quote, from multiple sources, here's what I have heard, re the Gronk rumors. He told Belichick he wanted to trade him. Offers on the table with both the Titans and the 49ers. He and Robert Kraft had a closed-door meeting to discuss. Tom Brady threatened to retire if the deal went through. Kraft nixed it, end quote. Pat's PR head Stacey James counters with, I would say with the utmost confidence that none of that is true. None of it, end quote. We don't have to talk about that.
But it's according to Kirchin.
I know, Adam Kirchin. Adam Kirchin. So, Guillermo is neurotic and crazy, and so he has totally given up on his Lewis Brinson campaign because the first hint of, oh, that doesn't make me popular, makes him run into the forest nude, naked and afraid.
He had a good weekend, by the way. I mean, the stats won't show it, but he had a good weekend.
You are a coward.
He's fast, man. He makes other teams make mistakes. He got on base, tying run in the 9th inning, pinch hitting, by the way, because they're giving him a game off per series so he can kind of work some stuff out. He forced an error, was on second base, tying a run, and they couldn't bring him in. And then the next day, no-hitter on Sunday was going. He almost broke up that no-hitter in like the second or third inning just with his speed.
If you don't know what we're talking about,
caliber.
All-star feet. Lewis Brinson has been hitting under 170 all season. He's under his weight, which is startling because he's thin. He is skinny. And Guillermo has gotten a degree of fame from creating this Lewis Brinson All-Star campaign that made him end his boycott with the Marlins, pay the $4. You got, how many tickets did you get for $4? One or two?
I got one ticket for $4. Here's the thing about $4 tickets, Dan. It's $4 tickets, right? But by the time you pay the fees, the tickets are $8 because they're charging all these fees. So it's not really $4.
What are the fees? The nobody goes to the games fees, where they just tell you it's $4 and then they double the price because they need money because they're broke? Because they've got a discount bin playing third base for them?
No, but he's right. It's like hotel fees, man. It is. I'm serious.
Is that what it is?
They charge you like these convenient fees. And sometimes because I'm cheap, you know what I do? I'll go to the venue and buy the tickets myself to avoid the convenience fee. Like, I avoid
But what is that?
Ticketmaster
What
all
is
the
a
time.
convenience fee?
Well, that's a good question because sometimes I go to the venue itself and I get charged a venue fee. And it's like, wait a minute. What was the convenience here? I drove here.
You're inconveniencing me with both of these fees. Can you put it on the poll? Do you know what a convenience fee is on your sports ticket? What it pays for? Regardless. Guillermo has fallen apart. He's just a coward. He doesn't want to do it anymore. Like, Lewis Brinson is going to be, first of all, David Sampson accused us last week, the former Marlins president. He accused us of being more roar than reach. You're not even roar. You're a whimper. Like, what? Why can't you be stronger than this? Are you done with your campaign? Are you now publicly announcing that you don't want to have anything to do with it because you hurt poor Lewis Brinson's feelings?
I'm not ready to concede just yet. I'm kind of waiting also to see where we are when the first, results come in to see if this is all for naught. But if we're up there, I mean, I think we need to continue. They asked him about it on Friday.
What
we have
kind
the
of
sound.
campaign is that?
You're gauging
You're the
interest,
leader.
I mean-
If they're up, I think we need to continue. Like, you are articulating nothing but cowardice at every turn. Will you take a stand for something? Will you have conviction about something?
I'll let you know after the results come back. They asked him about it. We have the sound courtesy of WPLG and Clay Ferraro. I'm not sure that he's that upset about this, to be honest with you.
Did somebody make you aware of that and it came out on Instagram? What was the thought process behind that?
Oh, no, that was just me being, one, a good teammate, trying to get some good votes for some guys in here, and two, just trying to be funny. I appreciate the love, obviously being a hometown kid, but, get these other guys in there. Obviously, I haven't done my job up to this point, but, whatever, it's all right.
This is what Guillermo does. He sends me that video this weekend with do you think Brinson's okay? I think he's okay. I think he might be okay with what I'm doing. But he wants the attention that comes with it, but without Brinson's hurt feelings, and he needs some help from the master. Like, he needs some real strength coach. You could be his strength coach,
right?
Stugotz.
I thought it was. I thought he learned well underneath me.
But he has not learned anything. He's afraid of everything. He wants the limelight, but none of the turbulence. Stugotz, you need to be his strength coach here, firing him up, explaining to him how to do this.
For clarity, what he was talking about is we put up a post, like the campaign poster we have for him, and he commented on it on Instagram saying to vote in two of his teammates that are slightly more deserving of making it to the All-Star game than he is. Now, I would argue that I don't want the fame that comes with this. I want him to get into the All-Star game. You can take that. I don't care about who is responsible for him getting in. I just want him in the All-Star game. I like him.
Okay, but you're afraid of hurting his feelings.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can't be afraid of hurting his
feelings. If he gets into the All-Star game, Guillermo, it's going to be as a joke. He will make the All-Star game, and he will be ashamed around the other teammates.
I don't know. John Scott made it to the NHL All-Star game, right? Wasn't he like MVP? That was awesome.
No, Guillermo, this would be viewed as a complete joke, right? Everyone knows he's not deserving. We're starting a campaign that gets him into the All-Star game because it's representative of Marlins baseball down here. And you got to stay with it, man. It's not about Brinson. This is about you, okay?
Now I'm thinking we shouldn't do it again. See, this isn't going well.
The Royals did this a couple years ago. They had like almost all their starters at the top of the voting.
Yeah, Omar Infante was hitting like 220 and he was about to start at second base, and then MLB came in and they determined that some of the votes
I want
were
to
kind
put
of
MLB
faulty.
in that position, though.
I don't think we're even going to get to the first ballot before some of the votes disappear.
Let's stay strong.
Well, not this way. We're certainly not this way, where you're abandoning the crusade in the middle of it.
Right, Bill, you got to stay strong all the way through. In order for those first results to come back in a way that you want them to come back, you have to make this about you. People are going to rally around you, not Louis Brinson, okay? It's about you, Guillermo.
Brinson's hitting 50 points lower than Omar Infante, and that was a national scandal. Wow.
Why are you such a coward, man?
I don't want to be mad.
All right, get out of here. $2, get out of here. Let's go to...
I'm going to take over this campaign. I'm going to get it done. I mean, I'm going to steal it.
Please,
take it over.
Please do. No, we've got to pull the coward and bring in... Get out of here. Get out of here. You're shame. Get out of here.
I mean, listen, I'm trying to share some glory with you. I didn't steal it already.
Stugotz is going to have to take over this campaign because you don't have the grapefruits for it.
That's 2 minutes in the box.
Grapefruit.
He's such a wimp, man.
I'm going to take it over. I mean, this is right in my wheelhouse.
Mike, is that it? Do we pull it from Billy? Do we have to pull this from Billy because he created it, his idea, it was going somewhere, and now he is really wimping out.
Just wait a couple hours for the first round of results to come in, and then we'll decide what to do with Billy.
All right, when?
See, I don't think that's right. I think he needs to decide right now if he wants to move forward with this thing. Right now, not after the results, right now.
Are you Bryn or are you Brown?
Brinson, Brin's out.
To Brinfinity and beyond.
Yes.
Dan Le Batard.
I finally found a guy who seems to be credible, who in print has lent to what I've been saying for a couple of years now, that Elon Musk is a quack.
So I asked Stugotz, what does the article say about him? And he just keeps repeating. He says he's a quack.
Yeah, he just keeps saying quack. And then you ask him, did you read the article? And he says, quack, quack. It's like talking to a duck.
Stugotz.
Elon Musk is a...
What's the headline? Because it's why you clicked on it. And then you said, get me this writer. He's credible.
I don't know how to pronounce this word. Would you mind reading the headline?
Elon Musk is a messianic huckster. So he is giving off Messiah, but he's a Messiah fraud.
Exactly. I was talking about huckster, but thank you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio. Traverse the royal splendor of His Majesty's most noble kingdom. Here now is your sovereign supreme royal highness, King Roy.
All hail! His Majesty King Roy will speak now. Hail!
I am exhausted.
What? Roy.
What?
Roy.
What?
You're King Roy. You got to do the accent. We talked about the accent.
No.
You have to do the accent, the royal accent that Chris Cody did.
We are not doing the accents, all right? You guys can do it if you want to, but I'm not going to do the accent.
Your royal subjects would like to do the accents like we all discussed and have fun and be merry. King Roy, all hail.
Silence!
Ooh, silence, nice.
As I was saying, I am exhausted.
Why, King Roy?
Tell us, please.
Last week was a very long week. It was a long week for all of us. Wednesday, we did the simulcast for Game 3 of the finals. You saw how that went. It was went pretty well, right?
Well,
all right.
Your Highness.
On all the gizmos.
And all the gizmos. And all the whatchamacallits. I, myself, had to work an event at the Fillmore. It was called Vood Conference. And I had to run audio for that. And
sounds amazing, Your Highness.
Thank you.
Sounds below you, King Roy.
Thank you. And it was just a long week. And this weekend wasn't exactly the best for me either. And I borrowed a room at the Clevelander, right? And I was locked out of the room.
Your royal quarters?
Yes, my royal quarters. My throne was in there and everything.
Tell us more.
I was locked out of the room. When I went back to the hotel room on Saturday, they said, and I was with Claire and my daughter Claire and
the princess.
Yes, the princess. The princess. And the hotel said it was 21 and over, so Claire couldn't stay there. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I had just gotten back from the Fillmore, and they threw us out.
Did they know you were the king?
No, they did not know that I was the king, Billy. So I had to drive all of us back home. All the way up
your
to
carriage?
Oh, and my
Royal carriage, King
Yes,
Roy,
in my royal
with
carriage.
Princess Claire and Queen. What is it, Stugotz? Queen who?
Elizabeth?
No.
I mean, that works technically. I saw what you did there.
No, that is not her name.
Why was your baby awake at 1 in the morning, King Roy?
Well, she was asleep despite all the noise that was happening on South Beach. Like, I was thinking about the safety of my wife and daughter and the fact that I had to take them home, and then 2 hours later I had to get right back up to go back down to the funeral.
How honorable of you, Lord Roy.
Thank you. Court Jester Michael. Thank you.
I thought I was a knight of the round table. Jester is really more of a Chris Coty thing.
Ah, okay. You are a knight of the
I am the jester! No one pushes around King Roy.
All right, let's change subjects, all right? All right, Alex.
Do as you wish, Your Highness.
We are your subjects, King Roy.
All right, hold my ears. Stop it. Silence! Alexander Ovechkin.
Oh, what a weekend.
Oh, boy, he is
the Tsar of Prussia.
getting lit up, man. I'm telling you right now. He took the Stanley Cup to the Nationals game, got drunk at the Nationals game, drunkenly sang the national anthem at the Nationals game.
With the finest of ales.
The finest of ales. They inverted him, like, horizontally to drink out of the cup at the Nationals game. It was crazy.
An ale stand.
Yes, he was playing in the fountain.
Half naked in the fountain.
Yes.
The royal fountain.
The moat, if you will.
And then he went back to his hotel or whatever and slept with it. It was
He slept.
a magical day for him.
Wait a second, he slept?
Yes, he slept.
He slept with the cup?
There was photo evidence of him sleeping with the cup.
Where does he even put it?
Go on.
Right on his bed.
That's not what I was talking about.
Oh!
So-
Okay. All right, then. All right. What would you guys do with the Stanley Cup if you had a day with it?
Oh. I would eat ice cream out of it. Whatever you commanded me to, King Roy.
What would you do, Knight Michael?
You know when you make a birthday cake and you stir up all the cake batter within the bowl?
Oh.
And then the best part is licking all the cake batter, which is always being told that it's bad for you, right? Salmonella?
Yeah.
But you eat it anyway?
Yeah.
And it's the best because you take your finger and you rub it around the entire bowl.
Yes.
That's what I would do with Lord Stanley.
Live dangerously.
That sounds delicious.
Can you explain to me this segment, how it went from you being locked out of your room, King Roy, to you giving us a Ovechkin update? Sorry.
This is the King segment.
Thank you. Thank you.
The king discusses whatever he wants to discuss. That's why it's called Roy's Realm. Sorry for interrupting, Your Highness.
No problem, Knight Michael.
I'm sorry, too.
Silence! The king speaks now.
On Wednesday, we were talking about how that three-pointer that basically won the championship for the Warriors from KD didn't count, according to Stugotz.
In his personal record
In his personal records, in his personal record scroll. Do you believe that his MVP trophy counts there, Stugotz?
I do not. No. Nothing counts.
Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing at
Where
all.
is your accent?
Your accent.
Hell out of here.
Use your Buscemi accent.
Do something other than...
Lord Roy, that trophy does not count in my personal record book.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
It's
Nothing
King Roy.
he has
It's not
done,
Lord
King
Roy.
Roy. Well, Lord King.
Peasant.
I feel like Lord is perfectly acceptable for a king. Am I wrong, King Roy?
Yeah, no. No, that's not acceptable for a king. It's actually king.
Oh, then I apologize.
You will address your king as king.
King Roy, in my personal record scroll, Kevin Durant, anything he has done with the Golden State Warriors is not in that scroll. I did not take my feathered pen and write anything in my scroll.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
The king approves.
The king approves,
Wow.
and so does
Very
his royal subjects.
Very good.
The audience doesn't seem to, though. You want me to read some of what the...
Quiet!
This is the dumbest segment in show history.
Don't doubt yourself, King Roy.
No, it is. It is, quite frankly,
You
the
are
worst
such
segment
a
in show
sovereign
history.
and wonderful leader.
You're so humble, King Roy.
Somebody writes in, this is Gronk Family Feud level.
Silence, peasants.
This is why we did this in the local hour, so nobody would. This doesn't count, just like Katie's MVP.
Stuff in the local hour.
Extra right.
No, apparently not.
Extra writes in, this is awful. Holy bleep. I love Roy, but this is the worst radio in history. What did I miss? What is
Silence! What the hell is a texter?
this segment sucks. Pit of misery, dilly dilly.
Yes.
Roy, be quiet. What the hell is happening?
I don't know what's happening anymore. I was set up to fail.
Your Highness, would you like me to fetch the dragon?
Get the dragon.
Get the dragon.
I shall get the dragon.
Yes, get the dragon.
This segment is very annoying. Big fan of the show, but this is terrible. What a flaming doo-doo fire.
You should see the dragon's doo-doo fire.
Oh, my God. All right.
What is next?
Don't let them shake you, Roy.
Compose yourself, King Roy.
I mean, I knew going into this was going to be a complete failure. I absolutely knew.
I actually think it's working.
Don't get dissuaded by don't get dissuaded by these.
Silence!
Your first topic was I'm tired.
Perhaps that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly why. I'm exhausted.
Perhaps maybe go to the best of topics.
I don't have any. Night, Michael.
It?
These topics are awful.
Maybe we can debate something from pop culture.
All right.
Something relatable.
Did you let the audience defeat you?
No, I let myself defeat myself. All right. You guys watch Westworld or anything?
I watch it some, my lord.
What is that?
That is a HBO show. Night Billy. Lord Billy. Lord Billy. That is a HBO show. I saw it for the first time, and I'm completely confused. I saw it last night.
Did you just jump in on one episode in the second season, or did you start from the beginning?
No, I watched the episode that aired on Sunday.
That makes no sense.
I don't know. It just happened to be on after last week tonight, and I watched it. And
you have to watch episode 1. I can understand how that show shall be confusing. I shall write the writers and make sure they adjust the show accordingly.
Why didn't the performance begin from the beginning for you, King Roy?
Damn, thank you, Night Michael. I don't know why Lord Billy. I should have asked him to start from the beginning. I don't know.
Chester?
Tommy Hutton has returned.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That is not related to this.
Oh, wow.
Is that a Roy topic? Is Your Highness, does it please Your Highness that we talk about Tommy Hutton?
Yes, it does. Go ahead.
How is this segment going to end?
It's going to end right now.
Dan Le Batard.
You are the best, and when I say the best, I mean the very worst and most evil.
Stugotz.
The worst.
But this time, it's for real.
Worst.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz's weekend observations are coming in 15 minutes. You don't ever want to miss those. He brings thunder. He brings lightning. He's the best in the take game at being the worst.
Thank you.
So let's do, before that, though, the funniest thing from the sports weekend. There is plenty of laughter to be found in the weekend.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha, ha, ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
What do you got, Fats?
Matt Latos starting a huge brawl in an independent league baseball game.
Was it a great brawl? You had a single to left field off of Matt Latos in high school, right?
Funny you bring that up. Yes, I did get a hit off
that's
him.
the only reason. That's the only reason you thought that was funny. So we could go back. You went for 1 for 4 off him, right?
Yeah, this is more fitting for someone I got a hit off of, being an independent league starting brawls than being in the majors. This is about right.
Guillermo, what do you have? What is the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Poor CM Punk. He lost again at UFC 225.
I mean, Chuck Liddell was on Twitter saying, what a horrible fight. How are they headlining? Were both fighters 0-1?
They were on the main card. They weren't headlining. I believe it was the first fight on the main card, but a lot of people took offense to just being on the main card.
My fault. Yes, that's what I meant. Roy, what do you have for us?
Mike Tyson threw a drink at Don King at the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Are there more details to that?
No, that's it.
All right. Mike, can you see if you can find that story of Tyson telling us about the time that he was all coked out and he made Don King get out of the car on the highway because he was kicking his seat and threatening him? See if you can find that story. It's in the Mike Tyson file. It might take a while because we have a few like it. What was the funniest thing from the sports weekend for you, Mike?
I was just alerted to this because I was going to go with something else, but I checked it out on Twitter. LeGarrette Blount had some sort of photo shoot, I guess, to wear his Lions uniform, some sort of pseudo media day. Somebody forgot to wear a cup. That somebody was LeGarrette Blount, and you could see all of it, man. Well done, by the way.
Wow.
LeGarrette.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Well done, LeGarrette? Question mark? Yes or no? Stugotz, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I love this. Quinn Cook was in a suit for Game 4. He realized that the Warriors were about to win the championship, so he went to the locker room, put on his uniform so he'd be a part of the team pictures.
So he was in a suit, but he didn't want to be in a suit in any of the historic photographs of teammates celebrating.
Yes.
So he went back and put his uniform on.
Very well done.
Is he allowed to have his uniform on during the game? Does he have to wear a suit because he's out?
I don't know. He was in street clothes, Dan.
Was he wearing it under his suit?
What were the other guys who were in suits doing? Did they do the same thing and we're only shaming Cook? So Rob Gronkowski roots for a horse the way that you might imagine he would root for a horse, which is like a 7-year-old. And he and his buddy each placed $69 bets. Of course they did. On Gronk's horse to place.
Nice.
The $69 bet
Nice.
won them $952. Congratulations to Gronk. I mean, he is a 7-year-old, Mike. What's the matter with him? Seriously,
he's Gronk.
I didn't find out about that when I was 7. I was more of a teenager thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. I just don't understand how he is so atrophied. He's a child. He is a 6'8", 270-pound polar bear, baby polar bear. And he acts in all the same ways. What's the sound that you have here, Mike?
Don King had sent the plane. We were going to do a deal and squash our lawsuit. So we were going to send for a private plane. He sent a plane for me. And so I got on the plane. But before I got on the plane, I'm smoking and drinking. Right? So I got on the plane. So I'm on the plane. So when I'm on the plane, my mind starts. I say, hey, this is my damn plane right here. My money paid for this damn jet. Right? And so once I got downstairs, I got off the plane. We arrived at Miami, put me in the car, and once we got in the car, it was just a very stimulant situation going on.
You hit him in the back of the head, right? You hit him in the head?
Well, it's a possibility I kicked him in the head. I don't remember, the possibility I kicked him in the head.
I think he said something about there being a suitcase of, I don't remember the specifics, but no story is too crazy. Did I tell you have I ever told you guys the most harrowing journalistic situation I've ever been in? Like, I'm not, flying helicopters over Saigon like Brian Williams, but have I ever told you my most harrowing journalist?
Is it looking at this LeGarrette Blount photo? I mean, my God.
I was in a locker room with Julio Franco. No, I was in a hotel room with Mike Tyson's bodyguard. And Mike Tyson's bodyguard had written a book about all the Mike Tyson things, because Mike Tyson during that time was just his own economy. And so I think he was his driver and bodyguard. And the interview I was doing in a Las Vegas hotel, and I was very young, he was wearing a bulletproof vest during the interview. And he just didn't know what was coming his way because he had betrayed Mike Tyson by writing a book. And then there was a knock on the door. And I was under the bed. Like, we both hit the floor. And that right there is, I don't know. I don't know what was, it could have just been cheesecake. I still don't know. All of these years later, it could have just been room service. What a wimp career I've had.
Blount would hit the floor. Standing.
Don't forget, you can hear more of my sons Dan and Stu weekdays starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
This is your bedroom. This is your bedroom with Blue Chew. Blue Chew uses the same active ingredients as in Viagra or Cialis, but now comes in chewable form. Chewable means better, cheaper, and works faster than pills. No in-person doctor visit, no waiting in line, no more awkwardness. 100% online at BlueChew.com, where your first order is free. Just pay $5 shipping. Use promo code DAN at BlueChew.com and restart the party.
Dan Le Batard.
You are the best, and when I say the best, I mean the very worst and most evil.
Stugotz.
The worst.
But this time, it's for real.
Worst.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Top-ranked Rafael Nadal defeated Dominic Thiem in straight sets to win the French Open for a record 11th time. Incredible, man. In the Women's Championship, top-ranked Simona Halep beat Sloane Stephens in 3 sets to win her first major tournament. And finally, MIT scientists created a psychopathic artificial intelligence by feeding it violent content from Reddit. The scientists named the Al Norman after Norman Bates.
AI.
That definitely says Al there, though.
No, that's a capital I.
Capital I.
That looks like an Al, man. I mean, perhaps I should have known that, but that you're right. I'm not blaming anyone. You're right.
You said artificial intelligence.
On me. It's on me. You're right. My fault.
Where's the $5 you owe from before?
I don't have any money on me.
You had a $100 bill.
What?
I saw it. I saw people have sent us video proof.
Counterfeit.
You now owe $7. Don't let him run out of here without
$7.
That's right. Yes.
Wow, you are tough, man. I let a bunch of things slide today with you.
You still have the IOU in there for $9.
Wow.
Wait a second. No, I paid that last week.
No, it's still in there.
No, I paid that last week.
Why is it still in here?
No, see, that's Stugotz. This is what he does. This is where he muddles, he clouds, and next thing you know, he's profited off of the fine bucket.
$16?
Yes, he owes $16.
How'd you get to that?
$16.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Vivid Seats. When's the last time you were at the game or concert? Go to vividseats.com/ESPN today for your exclusive discount offer. Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Dan, the NHL had its second highest rated playoff since 1997. And you know what that means? Hockey is back.
Really?
It's back. Bob Batard entering a horse that had no shot of winning and was simply there to block for Justify. Heady play. It's funny. Batard has goons in his stable. Nick Young has more rings than Carmelo Anthony. JaVale McGee has 2 more than Carmelo Anthony. Can't believe Nick Young got a ring before Kevin Durant. Can't believe J.R. Smith didn't win Finals MVP. Ultimate troll, Golden State having a ring made for J.R. Smith. Headline, relive, justifies, historic Triple Crown run. Historic, it happened 2 years ago. Horse racing is dead.
Whoa.
It's done. Belmont Stakes down 34% from when American Pharaoh ran for the Triple Crown in 2015. And the lowest rated Belmont Stakes with a horse running for the Triple Crown since 1999. Why, Dan? Because horse racing is dead.
I was watching High Noon. I'm sorry.
Oh. I understand. Also, upon further review, running a goon horse to block for Justify means you only have a double crown, in my personal record book.
Wow.
How about that?
Really?
First ever double crown. Horse racing's back.
It's not the first ever double.
Yeah, no, it is. In my personal record book, it is.
Anyone who's failed to get the triple crown has won the double crown.
Yeah, but this is, in my personal record book, this is the first horse who actually won the triple crown, but I'm taking it away from him. Okay? Or her. Or him, I guess. And I'm taking it away, and so it's the first horse to ever win it, but only have the double crown. Get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Stop paying attention to the high noon and maybe pay attention over here, and, you would understand.
Sorry.
It's okay. Underrated stat that no one cares about because no one cares about tennis. Rafael Nadal is 86-2 at the French Open. Rafa. At Roland Garros, they should make a statue of Rafael Nadal out of red clay. Former Giant Justin Tuck and former Giant Sean O'Hara said the Giants wasted Eli Manning's prime. Hey, Justin and Sean, in his prime, he won as many Super Bowls as anyone not named Brady and won more than Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tony Romo, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, and Phillip Rivers. Pretty sure the Giants maximized his prime. Kevin Durant still fishing for validation. Kevin Durant said it's easier to be the best guy on a bad team. Hey, KD, did what LeBron just do look easy? And you continue to miss the point. Any team you join would automatically become a title contender. And you continue to miss the point. The one team you couldn't join was the team you joined. Fish all you want. I promise you'll never catch a validation fish. A little validation fish. They will swim around.
Yeah, I promise you will never catch a validation fish. Okay, not even a little one?
No, not even a little one.
How about a little tiny one that he has to throw back?
Not even a tiny one.
No?
Nope, not over here. Did some thinking over the weekend, which is always a bad thing. Alexander Ovechkin beat an expansion team in its first year to finally win a Stanley Cup. Not sure if it counts in my personal record book. Get back to you. Did some more thinking. Steph, Clay, and Draymond couldn't beat LeBron with healthy teammates by themselves, so they recruited Kevin Durant. Steph, Clay, Draymond. Got some bad news for you. You only have one ring in my personal record book. How about that? It's a big adjustment. I mean, it really was. Mets, 1-8 on a 9-game homestand. I hate them. Kellen Winslow Jr. using the excuse of house shopping for why he was arrested for burglary. Kellen, the Stugotz is strong in you. Tommy John for Ohtani. More like Ohtani John. Funny picture of Ovechkin in bed with a Stanley Cup. I can't believe he actually went to bed. Astros, Cubs, World Series, collision course. PGA Tour needs an all-star weekend. Scrambles, skins games, and best balls. Almost sounds pornographic.
Whoa.
Nah, just the PGA Tour all-star weekend. $75 million breeding rights for Justify. Can you imagine the breeding rights if instead of Justify winning the Triple Crown, it was Gronkowski? Kevin Durant said it's harder to stand out on a really good team. KD, did that seem to be a problem for LeBron James when he played for the Heat? Or Magic when he played on the Lakers? Or Bird on the Celtics? Or Jordan on the Dream Team? The South Dakota sheriff who fired a deputy moments after the deputy beat him in a re-election bid. Sheriff, the Stugotz is strong in you. LeBron James said he basically broke his hand punching a whiteboard after Game 1. Didn't realize whiteboard was the nickname for J.R. Smith. Would have thought that nickname belonged to Kevin Love. And LeBron, you either broke it or you didn't. Practically, please. Adam Silver, hope you really thought out this legalized gambling thing. LeBron James saying he played the NBA Finals with a broken hand after being swept by the Warriors. LeBron, the Stugotz is strong in you. And just so we're clear, KD is claiming it's harder to do what he did than what LeBron did. KD, The Stugotz is strong in you. The A in Alexander Ovechkin stands for alcohol. To The Athletic, I respect what you're trying to do, but get the hell out of here with me paying for the written word. Speaking of hell, that's where Art Briles is.
Whoa.
Stuck it in there. Dan
snuck it in there. It was a little heavy-handed.
Those are the weekend observations.
Guillermo, can you put it on the poll, please? Should Rafa have a statue of red clay? A statue made of him out of red clay. That record is impressive. And do we know the details on this Winslow story? Was he indeed arrested for shopping for a home for his mother-in-law, or did he break into a home for burglary? Because I got the impression from what I read that what happened was there was a black dude walking into a home that wasn't his home, and then he got arrested, but that he was actually looking for a home. I don't know what's true there. Can someone get me the information?
I'm on it.
Because I'd like to know what is true there, because Kellen Winslow Jr., there are many people saying that he was arrested for trying to buy a house while black.
It was in a mobile home park, which a lot of people have trouble suspending disbelief. A former NFL player shopping in a mobile home park.
Understood. I don't know what's true there, but I would like some details to figure out what's true there.
You gotta do better for your mother-in-law, no?
I don't know what his relationship with his mother-in-law is. I don't know.
Mother-in-laws are a little different.
It's a great question. I'd like to explore it next.
Dan Le Batard.
Is it fair to say that Stugotz isn't trying very hard?
Stugotz.
Duh.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Kellen Winslow Jr. is, I think, most famous for a couple of things. Well, maybe it's three. Maybe it's three things. One, being the son of maybe the greatest tight end ever, or what was at the time the greatest tight end ever. Two, being arrested in a parking lot for allegedly finding too much pleasure with himself. And third would be his rant after a Hurricane game that seemed a little bit loose and rabid. These teams were great. These Hurricane teams were great, and Kellen Winslow was like a special teamer crushing people before he got the chance to start, because what the University of Miami had at tight end was ridiculous. When you go, Jeremy Shockey, you're sitting there trying to, Bubba Franks. It's pro after pro.
Right. So those guys had to play special teams, correct?
Right. Someone like Kellen Winslow Jr., all of them are professional tight ends. And so here was a rant in the middle of the Hurricanes had come out of all of that nonsense where they were too mouthy and too showboaty. They cleaned it up with Ed Reed and Jonathan Vilma, and then here comes Kellen Winslow Jr.
It's about this you, man. I don't give a flying you-know-what about a ball. I don't give a damn. He'd do the same thing to me. It's war. They don't give a freaking you-know-what about you. They will kill you. They're out there to kill you. So I'm a Kim. You write that in the paper. You write that. You make money off that. No, man, I'm pissed. All y'all take this down. I'm pissed, man. We don't care about nobody except it's you. We don't. If I didn't hurt him, he'd hurt me. They're gunning for my legs. I'm going to come right back at him. Soldier.
My soldier. So this soldier was evidently house hunting in a trailer park for his mother-in-law. Here's the story from the Tampa Bay Times. Former Bucks and Hurricanes tight end Kellen Winslow Jr. house hunting for his mother-in-law in a Southern California mobile home park when he was arrested on suspicion of burglary after a neighbor called police, Winslow's representative said. Winslow, 34, was arrested Thursday afternoon near San Diego after a mobile home park resident called police and said a man he didn't recognize had walked into a neighbor's residence and then left in a black SUV after being confronted. San Diego County Sheriff's Department said Winslow was stopped by deputies as he drove nearby and was arrested on suspicion of burglary, the department said. Denise White, a spokesman for EAG Sport Management, which represents Winslow, told NBC News in an email that Winslow was home shopping for his mother-in-law and never went inside the residence, which belongs to friends who attend church with his wife. A resident of the mobile home park told a San Diego TV station that when Winslow was confronted, he said he was looking for his red dog, Clifford. White
looking for Clifford, the big red dog.
White said Winslow does have a red dog named Clifford, but that he was being sarcastic in his response. I don't know what happened here, but it is possible that Winslow was simply black and just wandering around the neighborhood in an SUV. And
you think that's a possibility of it? Because I'm going to say definitively, he's definitely black.
No, but I'm just saying that's what happened. What happened is Winslow. That's where I'm going to guess. And it becomes burglary, and it becomes neighbors scared, and it becomes about my red dog Clifford. But my guess is if Winslow felt that that's what was happening, that the police were sniffing around just because it was a black dude, that he might have given a sarcastic response to that. And saying I was looking for my dog, and the next thing you know, you're in handcuffs, you're going to jail, and the headlines aren't generally about you shopping for a motorhome for your mother-in-law. Are you buying Stugotz? Yes or no? Whose side are you taking? Because again, I don't know who's right. I don't know what the details are. All we know right now confirmed is that he's got a red dog named Clifford. Everyone agrees to that. Those portions of the details.
We're all in agreement on that?
Well, I feel like all the sides agree that once Winslow's been accused of having a red dog named Clifford, and he confirms that he's got a red dog named Clifford, that's where we are with the situation.
It could be, just a guy who was shopping for a house in the neighborhood, and the neighbor doesn't recognize that guy. Just doesn't recognize. He's never been around here before.
But could it be a burglary, which is what he was arrested for?
I need to hear from the wife's friends that attend church with her.
Yeah.
If they say that it's their mobile home and they back up Kellen Winslow Jr.'s story, then I've made my mind up.
Do you want to break out our investigative arm? Allison, find them. You've got two segments. COB.
Don Le Batard.
Yo. Chicken time.
Stugotz.
Smarter job.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Mike, have you seen these things that Mo Bamba is doing in these workouts where he's hitting 80% of his threes? Like he looks
crazy,
like the craziest evolution of all these extraterrestrials, where Kevin Durant is a player like no other player before him, where he's 7 feet tall and he's dribbling at the top of the key. Mo Bamba looks like that filled out.
He's got the size to make up for the evolution in the NBA that plays big men off of.
And the wingspan.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, because he gets down the court quicker than Russell Westbrook does just because of his strides. I don't know how I say that without really knowing how athletic he can be.
Well, I know how athletic he looks, and I know that he's making 80% of threes in these workouts. And when you see him shoot NBA threes, you're like, yes, that guy can do that. He can do it in an open gym with nobody covering him, but he can do it.
But it looks easy for him, like it looks natural for him, I guess.
He doesn't look awkward shooting threes in any ways. This is the evolution of the athlete. It's the Greek freak being something unlike anything you've seen before.
His wingspan is 7'10", the largest ever recorded at the NBA Combine. His vertical jump was 12.5 feet. I mean,
yeah, yes.
Well, why wasn't Texas dominant?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. They were with Durant. Durant was dominant in college in a way that even though he was skinny, everyone said, "Yep, Durant is going to be someone who overwhelms the league." Even if you take him after Odin, as I said you should, he's still going to be someone who's going to be great in the league. He couldn't bench 185 one time when he came into the league. Durant, not one time in the workouts.
What were they last year? 19 and 15 or around that? They weren't thoroughly impressive. And when you have someone usually of that size in college basketball, they're a dominant force. But we hear more about Mo Bamba's just height and rapping skills than we hear about his dominance on the court.
You've had that recently, though, and it's weird. Like you've had that with Fultz, you've had that with Ben Simmons, you've had it with guys before. So
where they lose in college,
yeah, they go to college and they're not. The team's not very good. They're good, but the team's not.
We've seen it with wings that have size but can't really shoot, right, like Simmons and Fultz. The big man in college, someone with these measurables as Mo Bamba, it should be dominating college basketball.
Mm-hmm. Let's update the polls here, Stugotz at Le Batard Show.
Did LeBron break his hand during one of his elaborate handshakes after the game? 77% of the audience said yes.
Kellen Winslow Jr.'s neighbor, well, the neighbor of the mobile home that Kellen Winslow tried to go into has passed. So
Has passed as in died or passed?
No. It's passed. Well,
the interview up.
This case is really cracking.
All right, so Allison is making a lot of calls. I'm wasting Allison's time. She's calling all of the neighbors who go to church with the Winslows or the Winslows' mother-in-law's family.
The neighbor called Allison, quote, very disruptive.
What?
Wow.
Because she just kept calling? I thought when you said the neighbor passed that she died. And so we weren't going to be able to get any information.
No, the neighbor said that this all has been very disruptive. So she wants it all to go away. People have been knocking on her door, and she wants to be left alone.
Okay.
So past is what I get every day when people say they don't want to come on the show. That's the word that they use.
Imagine when the neighbor sees Clifford the Big Red Dog. Do you want to hear the Stephen A. Smith impression? 47% of the audience said yes.
No, we did it anyway.
Yeah,
they voted against it.
All right.
They voted against it. We did it anyway.
Who are you rolling with? Jeff Bannister, A.J. Hinch.
A big one today.
59% of the audience went with A.J. Hinch. Is Yoo-Hoo chocolate water? 85% of the audience said yes. Are you stunned that Charlie Huff is still kicking around the softball circuit?
He played an alumni game that Billy went to go see, an alumni game. Give me some of the names that played in that alumni game. Billy left, didn't watch the Marlins play, just was longing for old Marlin times that included the following names.
Kurt Abbott, Antonio Alfonseca, Todd Hollinsworth, Alex Gonzalez, Juan Pierre, Luis Castillo, Alex Fernandez. Should I go on?
We don't talk about Alfonseca enough. He had 6 fingers on each hand.
He still does.
6 toes on each hand. Jim Leland would come
He
by.
didn't have 6 toes on each hand.
That would be weird.
Fine.
That would be weird. 6
that would
toes
affect
on
his
each,
grip.
6 toes on each foot. But Jim Leland would wander through the locker room and hold a hand up and say, Antonio, give me 6. And one time I asked Antonio Alfonseca how many rooms he had in his new house, and he held up a hand, and I wasn't sure whether – I'm not kidding. That's something that happened. I didn't know whether he meant 5 or 6.
During the game.
El Pulpo! Oh, that's right. There was a song about him. It's his nickname, the Octopus, because he doesn't have 8 fingers, but he's got 6 toes on each hand. What? El Pulpo!
During the game yesterday on the telecast, they showed him in like the booth, and he was just holding his hands like this to the camera, like he is 100% doing that, so we see his fingers.
Yeah, he's confident. Mike, please play that song every time Stugotz reads a poll result.
Didn't we have El Pulpo on, and we asked him if he ever gets sauce when he's eating ribs on his hand, if he licks the 6th finger?
Yep.
And he answered.
I believe we did.
I
yeah.
ask all the questions around here, Chris.
46% of the audience said he's not kicking.
El Pulpo!
Does Windhorse seem like a fan of the sun? 77% of the audience said no.
El Pulpo!
Was that a good Stephen A. Smith impression? 61% of the audience who wanted it said no.
El Pulpo!
Do you know what a convenience fee is for with your sports tickets? 86% of the audience said no.
El Pulpo!
Is the greatest tribute to the champion Warriors that they made champion JaVale McGee go 16 of 20 in the finals? 91% of the audience said yes.
El Pulpo!
Is there a second Barnaby? 78% of the audience said no.
El Pulpo!
Should Rafa have a statue of him made out of red clay? 92% of the audience said yes.
El Pulpo!
Does Zonka being mean to Dan hold up? 80% of the audience said yes.
Dan, get real.
Is Chris an idiot or is Dan a fossil?
Whatever.
88% of the audience thus far, fossil.
El Pulpo! That is Spanish for octopus.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPN News.